Can you actually get a business credit card without a business? That's a big question because a lot of entrepreneurs are not really interested in having an established business. Some people are comfortable actually running a sole proprietorship, and also, so that's important because a sole proprietorship is a lot simpler to actually run than actually have an established business. Like if you have an LLC or you have an S corporation or C corporation, you might have to pay attention to regulations. You might have to file some tax returns, some business tax returns, among other things. But if you had a sole proprietorship, you can actually still file your personal tax return. And the whole idea of forming a business is really not that complicated. Of course, you can have a DBA, a doing business as, but it's not as formalized as if you had an LLC, for instance. Okay, so can you get actually a business credit card without a business? Yes, definitely yes. Okay, so the short answer to a pretty pretty strategic question is yes, you can get a business credit card without a business. Now there are some caveats. Okay, one thing you need to understand here is that you got to really pay attention to record keeping. Very important. You got to keep records real fast. But hey, listen, you can have a non-traditional business venture and qualify for a business credit card. For example, let's say running a dog walking business in your neighborhood, buying and selling on eBay or Amazon, working as a virtual assistant, driving for ride sharing apps like Uber or Lyft, owning and leasing rental properties, delivering food with app based companies like DoorDash or Grubhub, tutoring. I mean, that's a pretty good, let's say, side gig too, right? Tutoring kids in person or online, buying and selling antiques, independent consulting work. That's a pretty good venture also to think about. Selling homemade items at markets or online. Okay, so when I speak about the online marketplace, I'm talking about Etsy, Facebook Marketplace. Okay, working as an entertainer, freelance writing and editing, building websites, managing social media sites. So basically, you can qualify for a business credit card. Okay, if you earn money from the work you do, you may qualify for a business credit card. So bottom line is you don't need to have a registered LLC or corporation to apply for a business credit card. And if you encounter a section on the credit card application asking for your EIN, your business tax identification number, you can list yourself as a sole proprietor and enter your social security number instead of a tax ID number. So now that I have established the fact that you can get a business credit card without a business, let me just walk you through the requirements to actually to fulfill before qualifying for a business credit card. Okay. Now, of course, the simpler route is if you are having a gig on the side, but you also establish yourself as an LLC. Because see, LLCs even allow you to have a one person business, so you can have a single member LLC. Okay, so if you have a registered business, including an LLC or S corporation, you apply for a new business credit card using your business information, and that's actually the easier route. Okay, and this includes your federal tax ID number, also known as EIN. And if you operate your business without a formal business structure, you can simply, like I said, use your SSN, your social. Okay. Now, when you apply for a business credit card, regardless of your business structure, regardless of the business configuration that you have, either sole proprietorship, LLC, LLP, S corporation, C corporation, or whatever, you'll still need to provide some information to the business credit card provider because credit card providers actually they gather this data for their own record keeping, but also for federal paperwork purposes, like especially when it comes to KYC and anti money laundering. Okay, KYC, that's know your customer. So they will ask you for the legal name of your business and the business name you want listed on the card. Okay, and if you are a sole proprietor, this may be just your name. Okay, your annual business income, monthly business expenses, the age of your business since inception. So when did you first start the business? Okay, and the industry that you're in, the industry of your business, the business structure, sole proprietorship, LLC, corporation, whatever, your role in the company, how many employees you have, if any. So even if you have a sole proprietorship, you can still actually hire people working to work for you. And of course, you have to issue a 1099s at year end if they're not full time employees. Okay, they're not full time employees. That just means you're not paying employment taxes for them, and you have to put also your business address, even if this is your home address, and your business phone number, even if this is your personal phone number. Now, one thing I need to say here is that depending on the card, you may need to mailing supporting documents to prove that you have a business. This may include information from the IRS confirming your EIN or income details. Okay. However, in most cases, you will receive an approval notice within a few seconds of applying online. So that's the cool thing about it, speed. Okay. Now, can you get a business card without business income? This is another important question that borrowers like entrepreneurs are really interested in. Let's just say you have a startup and you have no business income. Can you get a business credit card? You can. Yes, you can. It really depends on your personal that if your business has no income, then lenders are paying attention to your personal financial history. Okay. So if your business hasn't generated any income in the last six months or 3 months or 12 months, basically you have to understand that the lenders will look at your personal income. Okay. Issuers really understand that new businesses may have no income at the outset. So be honest if you are just starting out and haven't made any income yet. Okay. So even if your income seems small, like when you have only sold a few $100s worth of goods, you want to include that on your application. The reason is that you want to be upfront, and lenders can see potential. Lenders can see some trends based on your industries, because lenders actually keep information based on every industry, so they will see whether or not your business has potential in the industry that you're in. Okay. Now remember that getting approved for a business credit card may not be as difficult as it seems. Right? It's all about how you structure your application, because many activities can qualify as a small business. I've given you a little earlier, actually at the onset of this video, I gave you some activities that you might not think of as businesses, but which are in reality there are, I would say, legit businesses. The bottom line is what? The bottom line is, if you regularly provide services or sell items for profit, and you can prove that you have both sales and expenses, you may qualify for a business credit card. Okay. Some businesses can include anything from running an active Etsy store to driving, like I said, driving for rideshare companies. So that's pretty cool. So even if you don't have, let's say you don't have an established business, you still may want to think about getting a business credit card. There are so many advantages when it comes to keeping a tight budget, maintaining a certain financial flexibility that a business credit card actually offers. Okay, for example, you have rewards on business expenses. You are able to keep personal and business spending separate, which is really important. I'll explain why. You can also build your business credit score, and also finally, you have the possibility to accumulate business perks, and those perks are actually pretty. They can be significant depending on the industry you're in. So let me first talk about rewards on business expenses. By the way, rewards are different from perks, okay? And so if I say rewards on business expenses, I'm talking about the kind of benefits you can think about. So chances are you have some business related expenses on which you could be earning travel rewards or even cash back. So let me give you an example. If you are a ride share or delivery driver, you may need to cover your own gas as well as pay for maintenance and repairs on your vehicle, right? And if you are selling crafts or artwork, either online on Etsy or offline, you probably need to buy supplies. So the cool thing is, if you have a business credit card, no matter your expenses, you can earn cash, points, or miles if the card has a rewards program. That's why you want to look for business credit cards. They have rewards programs. So if the account offers a welcome bonus for new cardholders, you might be able to earn additional rewards by meeting a minimum spending requirements within the first few months of opening the account. So this is really good from a flexibility point of view. And when I say you can keep personal and business spending separate, this is really important, especially for taxes. For taxes, and so if you are, because the last thing you want is to actually file a business tax return with the IRS, and the IRS starts digging, and they realize that you are mingling personal expenses with business expenses. You do not want to have that, okay? And you also have the possibility to actually have a proper set of financial statements for your business. Like you can really prepare a balance sheet, a cash flow statements, an income statement, okay, and a statement of cash flows, or even a statement of owner's equity. So those are pretty good because you can actually use those financial statements to apply for a business loan. So if for any reason you want to remain a sole proprietorship, but you want to apply for a larger loan, a personal loan usually is capped at $100,000. But if you want to really switch to a business loan, you could apply for 10 million, 50 million, depending on how much revenue you are producing. So you have much more flexibility, monetary flexibility on that front. You can build your business credit score too. So even if you don't have a legit business, you don't have an established business, you can still build your paydesk score, your experience credit score, your experience business credit score, or your Equifax business credit score. Those are important because, again, going back to what I said to you a little earlier, if you were to apply for a business loan or a business line of credit or even a business credit card, having a business credit score can really help you big time, especially if you are on the high end of a business credit score such as the Paydesk, because the Paydesk score really qualifies you as as a business credit worthy entity. If you are having more than 80 on the Paydesk scale. So if your Paydesk credit score is above 80, you are pretty good, okay? And also, you have business perks now. So when I was telling you there was a difference between rewards and perks, many top business credit cards offer specialized perks such as cell phone insurance and cash credits for business related products and services. So it pays to actually choose the right card for your enterprise. So the cool thing is that here you have a clear distinction between perks and rewards. Now, can you use a business credit card for personal expenses? Chances are no. No. Even if you could, I would say categorically that you want to separate your personal expenses from your business expenses, okay? So even if you are running a sole proprietorship on the side and the sole proprietorship allows you to get a business credit card, don't be tempted to actually use the business credit card for personal expenses. So using a business credit card for personal expenses isn't illegal per se, okay? However, doing so may violate the terms of your card agreement, which could result in penalties, okay? And these repercussions might include closure of your account, personal liability, tax consequences. This is really important. Effects on both business and personal credit scores, and also you could have limited consumer protections. Okay. Bottom line is you have to make sure that you really do your research before actually. Don't go. I mean, if you have to, okay, maybe occasionally or exceptionally you could, but don't really make this a habit of using your business credit card actually for personal expenses. For instance, when I say closure of your account, some banks and credit unions are pretty strict when it comes to not allowing you to use your business credit card for personal expenses. So if you do so, they will close the account at once without even telling you, because that just means you're violating your business credit card's terms and requirements actually. Also, personal liability. So basically, if you are, let's say you are having a legal complication, let's say you're having a lawsuit, somebody's suing you, okay? Basically, what happens here is that if the court realizes that you are mixing personal and business expenses, that could be really bad for you, especially if you want to really have the corporate veil, because you are going to really lose that protection. Okay. And also, there are some tax consequences. I mean, I've said this before. When you actually are charging expenses, like if you're charging business expenses on a credit card, that's pretty good because some of those business expenses are actually how do I say it? You can deduct them. They are deductible. Okay, you can write them off actually. Things like even simple things, if they're used for businesses, you can write them off because the IRS considers that those activities helped you produce income, and since you're paying taxes on that income, they also want to make sure that you are having the benefits of deducting those expenses. Okay, things like cell phone. If this is for business purposes, business cell phone, you can deduct them. Let's say digital ads on Facebook, like ads on Facebook, for instance, you can deduct all those things. So you have lots of flexibility on that front. But if you are using a business credit card for personal expenditures, you might have limited consumer protections. Okay, because something were to happen, you're not going to have safeguards against sudden interest rate increases without prior notice. You might have restrictions on raising interest rates for outstanding balances. You might not have limits on interest charges for timely paid debts. And also, one thing you need to really understand here is that bottom line is if you mistakenly charge a personal expense to your business card, you want to inform your accountant or bookkeeper and mark the transaction to exclude it from your business's financial records. So if you're applying for a business credit card as a sole proprietor this year, you want to look for a few things, okay? So you want to look for the APR, like the interest rate, and like the APR, because interest rate is not the same thing as APR. So the APR is a more, I would say, a proper representation of the cost associated with a business credit card, because the APR might be 12%, and the interest rate is 10%, because there are other fees that come into play when it comes to the APR. Okay, you also want to look for the annual fees, because some business credit cards charge you a lot of cash. Okay, whether you're speaking about Chase or American Express, they're really charge. I mean, let me give you an example. The Business Platinum card from American Express, they charge you a hefty $695 a year. That's the annual fee, 695. Okay, that's pretty huge. And for Chase, the Sapphire Reserve, they charge you 595. Okay, so think about whether or not you will be spending enough to recoup, or at least getting enough benefits from the card to recoup whatever you will be paying every single year. Okay, so regardless, the bottom line is regardless of the size of your business, you want to make sure that whatever card you get actually is good for you, especially from a flexibility point of view. Okay, and you have to really understand here is that you want to get business credit cards instead of personal credit cards, mostly because of the perks, but also the credit limits. Because the limits you could get, this is kind of similar to a business loan. That's what I was telling you a little earlier. On a business credit card, you could be approved for, let's say, $100,000 credit limits. Whereas if you're looking for a personal credit card, you're not going to get that, even if you have a good credit score. So right then and there, you see more possibilities with a business credit card. So as the epilogue to today's conversation, I spoke to you about whether you could get a business credit card without a business, and the short answer to that is yes. Okay, and I just walk you through all the process of getting a business credit card. Who can qualify? All kinds of activities can qualify for the word business when it comes to business credit card. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.